Hi, my name's Marinette, and I'm a popular streamer, but my mom wants to make me a waitress, as she's very jealous of me. Before you watch my story, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Thank you! Since I was a child, I was brought up only by my mother. After she and I moved back to America from France, the guiding principle of my family was hard work. My mother worked several jobs to feed us. Of course, she prepared me for a harsh life from an early age, and any craving for creativity was immediately eradicated. I was supposed to study and help around the house, not suffer through bullshit. While my classmates were trying new technologies, tried their talents online, and they were already earning some money, I was a real housewife. I took care of my younger sister. I cleaned and fussed in the kitchen. I even learned how to sew. I wouldn't get out of that Cinderella mode if it wasn't for my friend Kim, which showed me the best thing in the world, video games. Taking an old laptop to study, I immediately installed a popular MMORPG on it, and I was immersed in the wonderful world of fantasy. During the day, I was a regular Cinderella, and at night, a cool pixie. Kim kept telling me that I should earn some pocket money from streaming. After all, I have the skills to do that, good looks, and the internet. Yes, it was Kim who helped me become a cool streamer, but I had to overcome a very hard road. Parents' upbringing builds character, and I just didn't believe such nonsense could make money. Mom worked from morning till night, and according to Kim, a regular streamer could earn much more in just one stream. I probably wouldn't have the courage to do that if it wasn't for my little sister Millen's impending birthday. She really wanted a dollhouse, but of course, Mom couldn't afford it. I spent my whole childhood playing with old toys. I didn't want the same fate for my sister. Kim helped me buy a webcam, and that same night, I launched my first streamer. I had a weapon to attract an audience. After all, I was a great seamstress, so I was able to make myself an elf costume. When I started getting donations and compliments, my heart almost stopped. But the best part was my little sister's reaction to the gift. She cried so hard with happiness that even my mother could barely hold back tears. However, there was a serious conversation waiting for me afterwards. "Where did you get so much money, Marinette?" Mother asked sternly. "I earned it myself, you won't believe it, but this is the best job in the world." I told my mom everything, but she didn't share my excitement. Some teenagers giving money for such nonsense? I would talk to their parents. "It's outrageous. It's not a job, Marinette. You just got lucky. Stop doing nonsense. You're an adult. Get a proper job." Yep, an expected reaction, and I got off easy. My mother was lenient about it. I decided to keep streaming, to prove to her that this is a real job. Every night, I prepared for the streamers, sewing costumes, making up little tasks for myself and the audience. And the more my popularity grew, the more I had to work. But it was worth it, and within a month, I had ordered myself a top-of-the-range computer, a microphone, and light for the workplace. I was literally flying home after school to try out a new technique as soon as possible. But when I came back one day, I couldn't contain my screams of horror. Mom was in tears as she took out the boxes with the brand new computer, followed by throwing out the backlit ribbon. "What are you doing?" I could barely stand on my feet from the stress. "You ungrateful girl, what's that? How dare you buy such expensive things when we even save money on food? But I leave money for food too. Mom, I'll pay it all off in a couple of weeks, and then there's a lot of money." "No, we'll throw it all away or sell it. Today." Mom folded her arms across her chest. Behind her stood a frightened Mylene. "No, Mom!" I suddenly burst out. "Let's make a deal. If I cover all my expenses for a fortnight, we'll keep the computer." "You won't. How can you not realize that this is not a job? Trust me, you'll sell it all yourself when we're out of money." Mom didn't believe in my strength, which made me lose hope in myself. My mother has always been a guardian angel to me, but when she turned away from me, my hands immediately dropped. I couldn't make a suit properly and come up with a streamer program. My only support was Kim and my little sister. Mylene looked at me with delight when I was trying to make a costume, and that inspired me. I was streaming every night and only slept for a couple of hours. Then school, endless housework, and the streamers again. But I was able to pay off the computer and more. With the money I'd saved, I decided to give my mom a present. Bought a multi-cooker and a robot hoover to make our lives easier. "I'm not going to use it," Mom said proudly. "What? Why? You don't like it?" I was ready to cry tears of resentment. "You earn by dishonest work. Stupid children give you money." "There are adults there too. They pay me for my work, Mom." "You jump in front of them in your costumes like a clown, and they laugh like a circus." "Don't say that, you're hurting me." I couldn't hold back my tears and ran to my room. Through the wall, I could hear Millen arguing with my mother and defending me. It gave me strength, and I started to move on. Now technology did almost all the housework for me, and I could stream during the day. The audience adored me, and I was crazy about my new job. Delicious food appeared at home, new clothes, and presents for my little sister, and my mother sold everything I bought her on principle. When she realized I was on my own and stopped being Cinderella in the house, Mom decided to remind me who was in charge in this house. She would come into the room, right in the middle of the streamers, and tell me off in front of everyone. She reminded them who raised me and to whom I owe everything. A couple of times, she even brought me to tears, to which my viewers responded with support and donations. They wanted me to prove to my mother that I had become independent. But alas, all that has come to an end. It all started with an argument with another streamer. I couldn't stand it again and ran off to my room. But little Mylene was much braver than me. "Your sister will end up in poverty. This is not a job. When everyone has forgotten about her, what will she do? I work honestly and take care of you. Here's a role model for you." "And I don't want to be like you!" screamed Mylene. "I want to be like Marinette." After these words, my mother had gone into the room, and in the morning, I had such a shock that I didn't even go to school. My room was empty. No equipment, no costumes. Even the internet was disconnected. "It's my job, Mom!" I shouted hysterically. "Here's your new job." She slipped a waitress uniform into my hands. "I'm not going to work for a pittance." "That pittance has supported you all your life. Don't argue with your mother." "What will become of you when your audience forgets you or when the internet disappears? What will you do in your old age?" "It's all fun for school children. Adult life is very different. Understand, I want to help you." My mother talked about how she started working from the age of 16, as she had to be a seamstress too, and the postman, and a waitress. How the hardships of adulthood came upon her. But she coped. But I didn't want such a hard life for myself at all. However, my entreaties had no effect on my mother. I had nowhere else to go, and I couldn't leave Mylene behind. And from that moment on, I was Cinderella again in the afternoon, and in the evening, a waitress with my mother. This work turned out to be one hell of a job. Coming home, I couldn't stand on my feet, and at school, I could hardly move around the classrooms. At times, when we were coming at home exhausted, Mother would sit down at the sewing machine. I would pull out my old sketches from when I was young. But now, after half an hour, she was already chipping away at the table and went off to bed. Once upon a time, back in France, she had a career as a designer. But it was a big risk, and my mother chose a stable but hard job. Her dreams crumbled when my father left us, and we ended up here, in Mother's homeland. Despite our double effort, the money was running out. Bills were once again in arrears. Also, Mylene needed new things. And while my mother cried herself to sleep out of helplessness, from the laptop Kim gave me, I kept streaming. The quality of the streams was disappointing to the viewers. But there were still those who supported me. I had to honestly tell them that no amount of donations was going to help. After all, it's not about the money. It's about my mom's principles. And when the comments hated my mom, I stood up for her, in spite of everything. I loved her. Now that I know how hard her work is, I feel sorry for my mother. On another dreary work shift, we suddenly had a real breakdown. Someone had rented a cafe. When we walked out into the hall to the guests, I dropped a tray in shock. They were my audience. Teenagers and adults greeted me. I signed autographs, and they left a tip for me and Mom. Mom was confused. The guests called me to the table. And the shocked receptionist could not resist such generous customers. At the end of the shift, our profit was the biggest in months. But as I was clearing the tables, I suddenly noticed my mother sitting in the corner. As I got closer, I noticed that she was crying. I understand that you're tired. Get some rest. I'll do it myself. I stroked her head with a smile. No, Marinette, it's not just fatigue. All these people who came to see you were so kind. No one has ever treated me like that in all the years I've worked here. They love you in what you do. Did that really upset you? I was ready to boil over in frustration. Yes, but it's not you, Marinette, it's me. I had no idea that your work was so important to people, that it in general can bring joy. I hate my job. I didn't want that fate for myself. And the whole time I was jealous of you. You're much braver and better than me, Marinette. Mom burst into tears, and I couldn't move from the shock. Was it all because of jealousy? At home, my mother led me to the pantry, where all my equipment and costumes ended up. I couldn't find the strength to sell it all. My mother said in tears, Do what you love to do, daughter. That would be the greatest happiness for me. I'm proud of you. Despite being wildly tired, I went live that night and thanked all my spectators for their help. My career has taken off again. So, I persuaded my mother to quit and change job. She's now my personal costume designer, and it's an activity she's so passionate about that she started selling costumes for cosplay as well. I learned a very important lesson from this story. Often, conflicts with parents are not due to anger, and because of misunderstanding, because our generations are so different. And you have to find a way to explain the intricacies of the modern world to adults and show that it is full of new discoveries and solutions. Have you experienced this kind of generational conflict? Write your answers in the comments.